1981 Canadian 1 cent coin. Today, we're diving deep into the 1981 Canadian 1 cent coin. We'll explore its history, what makes it a special piece of Canadian numismatics, and most importantly, what you need to look for to turn this humble penny into a surprisingly valuable treasure. To understand the 1981 penny, you have to understand the journey of the Canadian cent. For decades, it had been a consistent, round copper coin, a staple of Canadian commerce. But by the late 1970s, the Royal Canadian Mint was facing a problem: the cost of copper was rising. It was becoming more expensive to produce a penny than the penny was actually worth. So, in 1980 and 1981, the Mint made a subtle but significant change. They reduced the weight of the coin. The penny you see from 1981 is part of a 2-year run of this reduced weight design. It went from 3.24 grams down to a lighter 2.8 grams, but the story doesn't end there. The Canadian Mint was already planning a major overhaul for the cent in 1982, a move that would make the coin 12-sided and even lighter, with a different metal composition. This means the 1981 penny is a true end-of-an-era coin, the very last of its kind before a complete redesign. Now, let's talk about the design itself. On the front, or the obverse, you'll find the iconic second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by Arnold McKim. She is shown wearing a tiara and is surrounded by the inscription Elizabeth II DG Regina, which is Latin for Elizabeth II, Queen by the grace of God. Flip the coin over to the reverse, and you have the beloved, classic maple leaf twig design by artist George Kruger Gray. This design was first introduced in 1937 and would remain a constant symbol on the penny for decades. The date 1981 and the words 1 cent Canada are clearly visible. So, with all that history, you might be wondering if it's a rare coin. The short answer is, not really. The Royal Canadian Mint produced a staggering number of these for general circulation, over 1.2 billion of them. That's a lot of pennies. It's one of the highest mintage numbers for any Canadian cent because of this massive production. A standard 1981 penny that you find in your change today is typically only worth its face value, or maybe a few cents more if it's in excellent condition, but this is where things get interesting. Because beyond the millions of regular circulation coins, the Royal Canadian Mint also produced special coins for collectors, and these are where the real value lies. You need to know about two specific types: proof-like, PL, pennies. These were struck with specially prepared dies on polished coin blanks. They have a brilliant, mirror-like feel and a frosted, satin finish on the raised design elements. Think of them as high-quality, uncirculated coins. The mintage for these was much, much lower, at just over 186,000 proof pennies, the pinnacle of coin production. Proof coins are struck with an even greater level of care, multiple times on highly polished blanks. They have a deep, stunning cameo effect. Only 199,000 of these were ever made. A well-preserved, uncirculated 1981 Canadian penny might be worth around 50 cents to a few dollars, especially if it has a nice, red luster. A proof-like version can sell for around $3 to $5. But for a certified, high-grade proof coin, you can expect to see prices anywhere from $15 to $50 or more, depending on the grade, but the true holy grail for collectors are the rare mint errors. The Royal Canadian Mint has some of the highest quality control in the world, but mistakes do happen, and those mistakes can be worth a small fortune. Here's what to look for: struck off-center. This is a classic mint error where the coin blank was not properly centered when it was struck by the dies. The result is a coin with part of the design missing and a blank section on the other side. A dramatic off-center strike on a 1981 penny can be worth $30 to $60, or even more depending on the degree of the error. Struck on a wrong planchet. This is a very rare and highly sought-after error. Sometimes, a coin blank, or planchet, from a different denomination accidentally gets struck with the penny dies. For the 1981 penny, a notable and rare error is one struck on a nickel planchet. Since a nickel planchet is larger and made of a different metal, the resulting coin will be a copper-colored penny design on a larger, thicker, and heavier blank. These coins are extremely rare and can be worth hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. A double struck/double die. This error happens when the coin is struck more than once, or when there is a doubling of the design elements. Look closely at the lettering, especially on the date and the word Canada, and at the maple leaf. If the letters or design appear to be doubled or have a ghosting effect, you may have a valuable error. These can range in value from $50 to a few $100 depending on how prominent the doubling is. So, the next time you stumble upon a Canadian penny, don't just dismiss it as a worthless coin. Take a moment to look at the date. If it's a 1981, you are holding a piece of history, a coin that marks the end of an era for Canadian coinage. While most of them are worth just 1 cent, some are worth much, much more. Look for the brilliant surfaces of a proof or proof-like coin, or better yet, look for the unique signs of a minting error. You never know, that simple 1981 penny could be the hidden treasure you've been searching for. Happy coin hunting!